Welcome to the Upstate CFO Council. This organization was founded in 2019 by Robert Bendetti in order to provide a networking and educational forum for senior financial executives to share best practices, to discuss current financial issues, and to learn about current topics related to the performance of their job.
Good afternoon, Dan. How are you doing today?
Doing great, thank you.
Thank you very much for agreeing to do this. I think this is a really fun way for us to get to meet some of the members. And start off, Dan is the CFO and Vice President with Multipack Solutions. Before I started recording, I told him that he will be happy to know that I wasn't able to find anything interesting on the internet about him. He's got his social media profile pretty locked down, but he did forward me a really cute picture of an absolutely beautiful young lady, his daughter, and I have a 15-year-old daughter today, this very minute, turned 15. And so congratulations, and tell me a little bit about your daughter.
Yeah, so we have a big family. I actually have a kind of a yours, mine, and ours. So the total family, there's 8 of us total. When my wife and I got together about 8 years ago, 7, 8 years ago, she had 2, I had 1, and then since we've been together, we now have 3 together. So all in, there's 8 of us total, 6 kids. There's 2 boys and 4 girls. So the youngest 3 girls, the one whose picture is in the thumbnail, she's 6. She's a first grade at Green Charter School, which is a charter elementary school here in town. And another daughter that's 5. Her name's Maggie. She's also there as a kindergartner. And then the youngest daughter, her name's Caroline. She'll be 4 in a few weeks. The 3 older kids are Evelyn. She's 15 at Malden High. There's Enoch. He's 13 at Southside Christian. And then Will, who's my son, he's 12. He's in 6th grade here in Greenville.
Wow, congratulations.
Yeah.
Well, let me get started. First question, Dan, what is your favorite professional business book and why?
It's a good question. I think so. Lately, I've been fairly obsessed with Malcolm Gladwell. Kind of anything that he's been putting out lately, I've been trying to absorb. His latest book, Talking to Strangers, is really good. I'm not sure I'd call it a business book per se. It kind of gets into a lot of I'll call just the behavioral sciences, which I just happen to be kind of fairly interested in. And behavioral science, behavioral economics, I think are pretty married together. So maybe I'm not sure that's the exact right answer, but that's what I'm into lately.
Absolutely, great author. He's got a ton of good books. What's the best advice you've ever received?
One. This has been kind of lately, and I think especially with again, I've been through a few economic crises in my time. Kind of the Enron, WorldCom back in the early 2000s, the financial crisis, and 08, 09, and now this. Piece of advice someone gave me once was, don't borrow tomorrow's problems today. Don't get so worried about, because again, we're accountants, we tend to be planners and thinkers and maybe overthinkers at times. Don't be so concerned with the things that are going to happen a week or 2 weeks or a year from now. If there's a problem today, let's deal with it. Let's figure it out. Don't worry about these things that are in the future, because they'll always be there, right? And you'll never be able to fix them.
That's good. What's something recently that you started doing, or a tool that you've recently started using that has been very beneficial?
So I'll use the liberal term of the word recently. I've been using this for a while, but I think a lot of people just aren't aware of it. There's an add-on. I assume that's what you're talking about, like an Excel or a PowerPoint tool. There's a tool for PowerPoint called ThinkCell. If you know what that is, I've had some experience working for a German tier 1 automotive supplier. Here it's a BMW, Daimler supplier, Volkswagen supplier. And there's this tool called ThinkCell, which is actually a PowerPoint add-on. Like a lot of us accountants, we're pretty good in Excel. Sometimes we maybe aren't so great in PowerPoint, which, it's great to work in Excel to come up with tools for your own. But if you ever want to communicate to anyone who's not an accountant, they're going to want to see it in PowerPoint. So ThinkCell is a pretty good tool. The one thing that's pretty famous that they offer is the waterfall, which is kind of like budget's $2 million of EBITDA. Actual is hopefully 3 million of EBITDA, and what were the puts and takes to get us there, So it's a pretty good job of that.
Oh.
And it's pretty cheap. I think I think the licenses are like 150 a year, 200 a year, something like that. So
Okay.
in terms of add-on goes, it's pretty cheap. So check it out.
Yeah, very reasonable. What is the best part of your current job?
So, yeah, I've had a few jobs in my time. I've had came from public accounting, again tier 2 automotive. I think working for private equity, working in the consumer goods industry, I think the thing about my job is the things that I'm good at are really valued. Because I always think that that's tricky, right? Because you could have something that, for example, you work in automotive, what are they going to value? Like they love engineers, right? They love if you speak German, right? Well, I don't do either one of those, right? But I think being an accountant, I think having kind of a business background, I think working for private equity, kind of especially I'll call it kind of smaller private equity, I just think the things that I'm good at are the things that they value, and that makes what I do, pretty helpful for them.
Awesome. What's something that about you that I didn't mention that you'd like to share?
So I think, I would say this. I'd say I've been fairly obsessed with podcasts lately. I think if you're exercising, whether you're by yourself, I know a lot of us are working from home, and it's always nice. I always like having something in the background when I'm working on something, just to have something to kind of take your mind off stuff. Maybe what's your favorite podcast is probably a good question. To answer my own question, there's one, and I'll mention Malcolm Gladwell. He has one, which is, awesome, of course. And then there's another one called the Bill Simmons podcast. That's also really good. It's kind of a mixture of sports, pop culture, but again, he's from the Northeast, like I'm from the Northeast, so it's like talking to my older brother a little bit, So the Bill Simmons podcast, I check that out. It's pretty good.
Great. And last question, what is a question that I did not ask that I should have asked, and what's your answer to that question?
Yeah, so I think, I think in terms of I think so much of what we do kind of as managers of people is, kind of like I'd say a question is something like, how do you get the best out of people? Because I know that's always so hard for me because, again, no matter who you are, if you're in this business long enough, you're going to manage people, and you're going to, try to, part of your job is to get the best, kind of out of people. And I think my answer to that is, I like to set the expectation a little bit hard at first. I like to, again, if somebody says, hey, if I start a new job, we're a new accounting team, we've been closing in 6 days. Well, guess what? We're going to start closing in 3, right? Set the bar really high, but then be available to help get there, I think is the hard thing. Because, I think I know, especially with a lot of senior executives, it's very easy to say, well, I gave them the target, and gosh darn it, they didn't achieve it. You know what I mean? So it's one thing to set a tough target. It's another thing to really be in the details, really help people figure out how to get there. So I think setting really tough targets and then being there to help them achieve it, I think is a pretty good combination.
That's awesome advice, Dan. I learned a lot. I'm going to have to check out that widget in PowerPoint right after we get off this call. That sounds fantastic. I've been hacking Excel to make those waterfall charts, and it's a huge pain. It'd be cool for $100 to be able to do it as just a part of the tool.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, it's really great. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. Have a great day.